The incredible pictures of the absolute destruction at the airport is just quite astonishing. This is a really rare incident. It is not something that normally happens. An investigation is being launched to discover exactly what did happen when the Japan Airlines plane landed and seems to have collided with a Japanese coastguard plane that was taking off or attempting to take off to go and take aid to victims of the earthquake. Now, it seems to me that there's some kind of issue has occurred where the planes were not meant to be on the same runway at the same time, but ended up being on there at the same time. Unlike an airport like Heathrow, where you have separate runways for landings and takeoffs, here in Haneda they didn't do that. These runways were used for both taking off and landing. And I think where the issue is going to be and what the investigation will have to look into is exactly how the small Coast Guard plane could have been taxiing onto the runway at exactly the same time as the Japan Airlines A350 was trying to land. We all saw what happened when those two planes collided. It's unfortunately led to the death of at least 5 people on the Coast Guard plane. What's incredible, though, is that all 367 passengers were evacuated from the Japan Airlines plane along with 12 crew. There have been some injuries, but very few, and everyone has walked away with their lives. Incredible when you look at the scenes of that absolute devastation at the airport. Well, there will be an aviation investigation, obviously in Japan itself, but internationally as well, to make sure that something like this cannot happen again. There are reports that a transponder that would normally be on modern aircraft wasn't present in this small Coast Guard aircraft. Had that been there might have been a few seconds more for them to understand that this was going to happen and there was going to be this kind of a collision. But until the investigation gets underway, we don't actually know exactly what will happen. There will be, of course, investigations not just in Japan but worldwide for the Federation for Aircraft to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
JAL の乗客367名と乗員12名合わせて379名については無事脱出をしたとJAL から航空局の方に連絡が入っております。海上保安庁の飛行機につきましては、機長が1名脱出をいたしましたけれども、5名につきましては、
There's nothing to suggest that flights elsewhere will be impacted. It's quite unusual for an aircraft as small as the Coast Guard to be operating from a large international airport. This was purely because it was taking aid relief to earthquake victims. This is something that I think is a case of the wrong plane being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm sure there'll be a lot of investigations to find out how we can make sure this never happens again.